Today I would like to talk to you about the law of the edge. It's a teamwork law. Basically, here's what it says. The difference between two equally talented teams is leadership. Got a question to ask you. What allowed the Chicago Bulls to win 7 NBA championships? Leadership. Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson. And isn't it interesting now as the Los Angeles has won 2 straight NBA championships? Or another question, what has enabled General Electric to gain the respect of the entire corporate world? Very simple. Leadership. His name is Jack Welch. Or what secured the victory for the United States in the Persian Gulf War? Leadership. Colin Powell. Schwarzkopf. Everything rises and falls on leadership. All things being equal, 2 teams come together. The team that has the best leadership will win. I love the book of Proverbs because of its wisdom. 2 classic proverbs that really underscore this law. Proverbs 29:2. When good people run things, everyone is glad. But when the ruler is bad, everyone groans. Isn't that classic? Or Proverbs 29:4. A leader of good judgment gives stability. An exploiting leader leaves a trail of waste. I was up in, where was I? Dayton, Ohio, doing a Peter Lowe seminar last year. And on the program that day were a lot of people, but 2 of the people that were on the program are 2 of my favorite people, Zig Ziglar and Lou Holtz. So we had lunch together. And whenever you have lunch with Zig and Lou, you just basically eat. Because the 2 of them are going to do all the talking. And I let them talk because I eat and take notes. Because, I mean, they have clever thoughts and ideas and humor, and I just take notes and listen to them carefully and then put them in books and then let those boys buy the books. But anyway. So, you know, Lou Holtz has been a very successful football coach. But a couple of years ago, he went to the University of South Carolina, a team that has not been successful. In fact, as we were having lunch that day, Lou had just finished his first season with the University of South Carolina, and they had not won a game. They were winless. So we're having lunch, and I'm saying, Lou, how's the team going to do this year? Of course, when they were winless this first year there, he had inherited a team that really didn't have depth, that didn't have a good bench. I mean, he inherited a very bad team. But he'd been there a year, so he'd been able to put his disciplines, his coaching, his leadership on the stamp on the team. And, of course, he had already recruited 1 class. So when I was asking, I said, Lou, how's the team going to be this year? He got real excited. And I thought, I don't know if you should be excited about this team. But he got real excited, and he said, John, he said, I want to guarantee you something. And he just got right down my face. He said, I want to guarantee you something. He said, I guarantee you this year the University of South Carolina will have a winning team, and we will knock off of the top 10 list one of the major college teams this year. I guarantee you we'll do that. So I said, whoa, that's pretty big from a team that didn't have any wins last year. I think it was the 3rd game of the year. They came down to Georgia, or Georgia went to them. I'm not sure where, but they played Georgia. At that time, Georgia was ranked in the top 10, and the University of South Carolina beat them. So I get my little note card out, and I said, Lou, you are a prophet. You did exactly what you said. Good luck for the rest of the season. Said a couple other things and sent it off to him. Well, Lou Holtz not only beat Georgia that year, but I think they won 9 games and went to a bowl game, of which in the bowl game they won. Now, what causes a team that continually loses and the previous year doesn't win a game to turn around and win 9 games and go play in a bowl game on New Year's Day? It's very simple. The answer is leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. The best thing that can happen to a team is for them to get a good leader. In fact, it was Lou who taught me several years ago that a bad coach with good players will lose. But a good coach with average players will win. And this incredible law of the edge says that leadership helps the team to win. In fact, in your notes, leadership always makes a difference for an organization, but perhaps never greater than when two equally talented teams are in contest. One of the best leadership books I've ever read, it's a classic book, is The Leadership Challenge. This is a marvelous book because it helps really reduce down to very simplified form what leaders do. Posner and Kozas, who wrote this book, basically said, we're going to find and study and discover leadership, and we're going to reduce it down to its simplest common form. Basically, they said leaders do 5 things. Let me share those with you, and then let me share with you how that works with the leader's edge. Number 1, leaders challenge the process. In other words, they don't accept status quo. They don't accept things as they are. They're always asking the question, why? How could this be better? Why do we do it this way? What should we change? They're constantly challenging the process. They don't go with the flow. They ask hard questions. They buck the system. They have probably a courageous entrepreneurial spirit. They challenge the process. That's one thing that leaders do. The second thing that leaders do is they inspire a shared vision. They have the ability to take a vision and inspire people with that until it becomes a shared vision. Remember earlier in one of the training tapes on one of the laws, I talked about what does a leader do well? A leader takes the dream or takes the vision and takes it from me to we. That's exactly what Posner and Kozas are saying right here. They're saying leaders take a vision and they inspire what kind of vision? A shared vision until everybody has ownership of it. Number 3, leaders enable others to act. In other words, leaders become catalysts for people to move forward and to act. They lift people. They mobilize people. People are invigorated by their leadership and seem to become more action-oriented when a good leader is around. Number 4, leaders model the way. Leaders become good examples. They show the way, they go the way, they know the way. In other words, leaders understand that people do what people see. So therefore, they're constantly modeling for their people the type of leadership, the type of team members they want to have play for them. Number 5, leaders encourage the heart. They are chief encouragers. Let me define encouragement for you. I think encouragement is the oxygen of the soul. Encouragement breathes life into people. Remember when you were a kid, I don't know, did you ever do the song when you were a kid in elementary school, "Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam"? You know, home on the range, that's what it's called, home on the range, remember? And where there's that little part in the song that says, where there never is heard a discouraging word. I've never found that place. I go to Texas a lot. I've never found that place yet. Keep looking for it. But wouldn't it be wonderful to be in that kind of an atmosphere, in an environment, as Ken Blanchard talks about, raving fans, where you encourage and enable people to go to a whole new level where you really do become wind beneath their wings. Now what these two guys say in the Leadership Challenge is that leaders do these 5 things very effectively. They challenge the process, they inspire shared vision, they enable others to act, they model the way, and they encourage the heart. Now here's what I think is interesting about the 5 things or 5 observations of these 2 men concerning what leaders do effectively. 4 of the 5, numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5, are all directly team-related. All 4 of them. Now, challenge the process, that can be done individually. You could look at things as an individual and say, I'm not sure it should be that way, and ask some of the hard questions. You don't have to always challenge the process with a team, but I will tell you this. If you're going to inspire a shared vision, that's with a team. If you're going to enable others to act, there is an assumption there. And if you are going to model the way, there's an assumption there that somebody's following you. And if you're going to encourage the heart, obviously, those four are directly connected with your ability as a leader to get your best out of the team. Now, the leader's edge says that the leader makes the difference. So let me just put on a leader's hat for a moment. If you're a leader, let me ask you a question. Are you making the difference for your team? Are you are you a lid lifter? Or do you put lids on your team? I shared with you another training tape that one of the things I like to do is I like to add value to people. And another time somebody's asked me what to do, and I thought about it for a moment, and I said, I lift lids for people. I take the lid off and help them to rise to their potential. I do my best to, let you out of jail. You know what I mean? Move the bars, give you some freedom, get you growing, stimulate that growth just a little bit, help you to see the sky, help you to reach your potential, be all that you possibly could be. That's kind of what I try to do. Now, here's what I know. The things that these two men talk about leaders doing effectively: inspiring a shared vision, these things that involve the team, enabling others to work, modeling the way, encouraging the heart. Here's what I know. You can learn to do these things. Let me ask you a question. Can you learn to encourage people? Yes or no? Of course you can. Now, for some of you, it's going to be hard. It's not your natural temperament. Your gift spiritually is discouragement. You okay? In fact, if you're not sure who you are, ask me after this session. I've been with you all day. There are some of you I just want to meet. I mean, you just have a smile, you just want to go out and meet you. There are some of you, let's wait a day or two. Just kidding. So if you're not sure, during a break, come up and see me. Because I'm always amazed at people that are in the people business, and I see this all the time, people that are in the people business that aren't any good with people. Can I tell you, this is a tough business to be in if you're in the people business and you don't like people. Or if people don't like you. And I just see them. Sometimes I say, oh my goodness, you're in the people business. And I look at them and say, oh my goodness. Oh, they're not going to make it. Now, I don't do this, but there are a lot of times when sometimes I just want to go up to people and say, do you know you're in trouble? You can learn to encourage people. You can certainly learn to model the way. Isn't that true? You can certainly, if you want to be a model and model. See what? Here's what I want you to know. These skills are teachable, transferable skills. When I do leadership conferences, a lot of times people raise their hand and they'll ask the question. In fact, this is the most popular question probably in leadership conferences. People will raise their hand and they'll say, John, I'll say, yeah. They'll say, let me ask you a question. They'll say, are leaders born? And whenever they ask me the question, are leaders born, I give them the same answer. Of course they are. Think about that question. I've never met an unborn leader. Don't particularly want to. Something scary about this. See, when they ask, are leaders born? What they're really not asking, are leaders born? Hello, of course leaders are born. So are non-leaders born. We're all born. Hello. What they're really asking is, are there some people that when they're born, they got it? And are there some people when they're born, they don't got it? And if you got it, you lead. And I guess if you don't got it, you find a line. What's wonderful about training people to be team players. What's wonderful about leadership is that people can learn how to do this. You can learn how to be a leader. You can learn how to be a good team player. You can learn how to develop a good team. It's not an accident. It's not an accident that teams that consistently win because they have good leadership. So I want to call a timeout and say to you, if I were sitting in this room and I had the notebook open, and if I would be taking notes right now, and I just had a teacher say that the law of the edge says that the difference between two equally talented teams is leadership, if that's where you are, and if I heard that, the first thing I'd be saying to myself is that if that is true, the law of the edge says the difference in leadership is based, or the difference in a team is based on leadership, then what I would do is I would do everything in my power to learn how to lead effectively. And here's what is most important, and here's what I don't want you to miss. When you become a leader, one of the things you understand when you become a leader is that you're not only responsible for yourself, but you are responsible for others. The law of accountability. One of the things that I think is kind of a continual load that leaders have is the fact that they're always going to be accountable. But here's the good news. I guess the bad news is it gets a little heavy, doesn't it? I guess the bad news is that the load gets a little heavy, and you kind of carry the team, and you sometimes have to pull the team, and you have to lead the team. I guess, but let me give you the good news. The good news is, if you're a leader, you're the only person on earth that has the ability to multiply yourself through others. And the moment you understand that, then you'll commit yourself to developing your team and training your team and spending time with your team and raising them up to a whole new level, because you'll understand as a leader now, as you go, the people go. And if you go well, they go well. And if you win, they win. And guess what's more fun than winning by yourself? Winning with others. And that's the law of the edge. The law of the edge says that leadership makes the difference.